If you're watching this video, you've probably seen the other reviews on the Vision Pro. And the general consensus is that while it's a really, really cool piece of tech, probably the coolest thing we've seen in the past like 5 years, it still seems like a toy at the end of the day. And I'd have to agree with this sentiment. Now don't get me wrong, the Vision Pro is incredible. The whole AR, VR spatial computing experience has been nothing short of amazing. From the moment you put on the headset, everything just works. The hand tracking works, the eye tracking works. You know, it's super intuitive, and it seems like Apple put a lot of effort into making this an enjoyable experience. But the problem is, that's about it. I think the reason why a lot of people are coming to the conclusion that the Vision Pro is more of a toy than anything else right now is because it seems like Apple has curated these really cool experiences to wow the user for the demo. In the first couple hours/days you use the device. I mean, you got things like the Alicia Keys studio session, you got the dinosaur app, you got that video of the girl walking on a tightrope. It's all really cool. You know, you've probably never seen something like that before, and it really wows you in the moment. But after you go through, the content they provide for you, which is only like a couple hours, there's nothing really left to do. For example, in the dinosaur app, when I first opened it, it was super cool. In the opening shot, you have a butterfly landing on your finger, you have the dinosaur popping up, going through the screen, smelling my hand, it fights another dinosaur. But the whole experience is only like 4 minutes long, and that's it. You don't get any other dinosaurs. It's the same dinosaur every time, and that's it. I mean, why is it even on my home screen if there's so little content? And the Alicia Keys video, it's super cool. I think in the future, a lot of people are going to want videos in this format, but there's so little content out there right now that it seems like Apple has just created, these small individual experiences that are super cool to make the Vision Pro seem amazing. But once you actually get the product, there's not much you can really do with it. I mean, there's another app, the F1 racing app, where, you can see your cars racing. You can get like a turbine, set it up somewhere in your room, take it apart. But it's like, how many times are you gonna wanna do that? It seems like a lot of these experiences are something, you'd show to your friend, like, hey, look at this Vision Pro I just got. Look at all these cool things it can do. But it's something you'd only want to do once or twice, and you get bored of it pretty quickly. I even tried using the Vision Pro with Netflix and found that the bitrate was super low for some reason. The quality was just horrible. There's artifacting. I was able to see random colors and noise everywhere. It just wasn't a good experience. So after using the Vision Pro for a couple days, getting the novelty out of the way, it really got me thinking, who is this product for? I mean, it's super expensive at $3,500, and you probably want to get AppleCare with that. The hand and eye tracking gestures work really well, but there's not really too many apps that can take advantage of it, other than the actual UI. So even though the hand and eye tracking works really well to navigate through the UI, I still found it to be pretty slow compared to using either a touchscreen or a mouse and keyboard. Now don't get me wrong, the eye tracking and hand gestures work super well, but even if you're able to, select the right element on the screen every single time, just the process of doing so is really slow in comparison to other methods. And I think that as of right now, people are finding it fun. There's novelty in using, your hands and eyes to navigate through the UI. But once that novelty fades, I think people are going to be kind of frustrated with how slow using your hands and eyes to navigate through an operating system is. But everything changed once I used the virtual Mac display. Upon connecting my Mac to the Vision Pro, I was really impressed with how low the latency was between the keyboard, trackpad, and the actual display of the Mac I was seeing in the Vision Pro. But because I was able to use my keyboard and trackpad with the Vision OS, that completely got rid of the problem of the hand and eye gestures being too slow. And that was honestly one of my main complaints. So after seeing how well the Mac integrated with Vision OS, it completely redefined how I saw the Vision Pro. And I think the current narrative of the Vision Pro being its own device is kind of misleading. Prior to using my Vision Pro with a Mac, I kind of saw it as a standalone device, and that was kind of why I was complaining about how there's so little content for the Vision Pro, making it kind of useless. But now that I'm able to have a full Mac OS screen in front of me, I'm able to have, messages, multiple Safari tabs open here, pretty much any other app in the Vision OS on the sides of it, I realized that the Vision Pro isn't meant to be a standalone device. It's meant to be an extension of the Mac. Now, the most obvious counter to this statement is that you could pick up some external monitors and achieve the same thing as connecting your Vision Pro to a Mac. And that's not incorrect. For the price of the base model Vision Pro, which is $34.99, you could pick up two 5K studio displays. You could also just buy some LG 4K panels for like $200 to $300 a piece, which is significantly cheaper than the Vision Pro. But the problem is, those screens are stationary. You can't bring them with you. And that's kind of where it all clicked for me. I was finally able to see who the Vision Pro is for, at least in my opinion. And that type of person is someone who relies heavily on their computer for work, but doesn't always have the luxury of having a nicely furnished setup with multiple screens. This type of person, in my opinion, would be someone like a consultant, pretty much any type of person who finds themselves going from one location to another and has to rely solely on the tiny screen of their laptop. For example, let's say I'm a consultant who just visited an on-site location and I have 12 hours in my hotel room before my flight to go back home. This isn't enough time to justify bringing a monitor in a suitcase or something like that, but it still is enough time to get some work done. So in this situation, most people would just have their laptop set up with them, and they'd have to do all their work on the screen of their laptop, which in most cases is like 13 to 15 inches big. While this isn't unworkable, it is pretty cramped, especially if you're used to working on a multi-monitor setup like you'd have at your home office or your on-site office. But with the Vision Pro, you're able to see your Mac virtual display in any size you want it to be. You're able to have something like Excel open to the side of it, your Gmail app, for example, your messages, and other Safari windows, which you can also access things like Google Docs, GitHub, whatever you want. So essentially, you're able to have a multi-monitor setup without actually having to bring multiple screens. While this is a pretty niche scenario, I think for those who would actually benefit from this, $34.99 price tag is justifiable. Now I know that the Vision Pro is still a young device, and the problems that I mentioned are only going to get improved upon. As of right now, the App Store is really young. As time goes on, more developers will make apps designed for the Vision Pro, so there's going to be more things to do. The hand and eye tracking is only going to get better over time. After all, this is a Gen 0 product. So I think over time, the Vision Pro is going to become better at being a standalone product. But as of right now, I think where it really shines is when it's paired with a Mac. So bottom line, should you buy the Vision Pro? I'd say unless you're the type of person I described a few moments ago, I'd say you're better off waiting for the next one.